This is the Western Digital My Passport Ultra. It's a USB 3.0 portable hard drive that's low on cost and pretty high on value. Let's take a closer look. For a portable drive that's almost 4 years old, the Passport has held up surprisingly well, even to WD's new lines of portable storage, including SSDs. It has lost a bit of its fame due to number one, the popularity of external SSDs, and number two, just time, but you'll still find this thing practically everywhere. The Passport also has USB 3.0, so it's not really as old as it seems. Out of the box, the drive comes formatted in NTFS, so you will need to reformat it if you're using a Mac computer. There is a version of this drive specifically for Mac computers, but it's slightly more expensive than this one and not really worth it in my opinion. The build is basically what you'd expect from a portable storage device. The drive has some weight to it and an average thickness, enough so it can fit in your pocket, but you'll probably want to ditch the super skinny jeans for this one. That being said, it does fit quite easily into any type of bag or backpack, so it definitely earns a check mark for that portability factor. The build feels solid, and it can definitely take a beating before doing any real damage to the drive itself. The casing does have a tendency to pick up dust, however, and it scratches pretty easily. I've gotten a few scuffs on the top of my unit, but they aren't really visible unless they're in the correct light. 4 small rubber feet exist on the underside, and we've got a white status LED that can be toggled on or off through software. Speaking of which, the Passport comes equipped with a small suite of WD software for things like hardware encryption and file backups, either to the drive itself or to Dropbox if you have an account and pay for that much storage. The software isn't required to make use of the drive, neither will it provide much extra functionality for the everyday user, but it's definitely a nice thing to have if you'll ever need it down the road. As for what options you'll get when buying, this drive comes in 1, 2, 3, and 4 TB capacities with 4 different color options. You also have the option of personalizing your drive with these grip packs, which are basically bumpers for the drive that add a bit of color and protection. I don't have one, but I can see these being helpful for people who need any extra protection. It's helpful to note that the 1 TB option is just a few millimeters thinner than the other 3, but for the most part it won't really make a difference. Now for performance. And oh boy, this is where USB 3.0 really shows off. I store my entire photo and video library on here. Mind you, it's only around 320 gigabytes, but the thing's still as fast as ever. Transferring a 15 gig video file from my desktop's hard drive to the Passport took around 2 minutes and 35 seconds, while transferring it back took 2 minutes and 27. I also copied an entire game directory, in this case Rainbow Six Siege, to the drive. Total file size is somewhere around 30 gigs and serves as a decent benchmark if you want to copy your entire Steam library or something onto the drive. Total write time took around 6 minutes and 3 seconds. These tests were all done by plugging the drive into the USB 3 port. Speeds are a fair bit slower using a USB 2 port, taking 3 and 18 seconds for the 15 gig file, and 9 minutes and 34 seconds for the Rainbow Six directory. That being said, smaller everyday file transfers are speedy regardless of what USB tech your computer has. The prices of this drive are already pretty good, starting at 104 Canadian for the 1 TB option, 114 for the 2 TB, and around 150 for the 3 TB. I got my 2 TB unit on sale for around $89, and it's pretty common to find these for lower than their suggested retail price, so you'll pretty much almost always get a good deal. The 4 TB one isn't available as much as the first 3, but if you find it for a decent price, I'd definitely say spring for it. Okay, so the Western Digital My Passport Ultra is a great USB 3.0 portable drive. It's got a solid build with an average thickness that allows for portability, albeit its tendency to scratch. The included software is useful, but only if you really want to regularly back up your files or encrypt them. You get a choice between 1, 2, 3, and 4 TB capacities, with prices increasing as storage does. Comes in a few colors, and we have grip packs for further personalization and protection. Performance is great using either USB 2 or 3, with the former being slightly slower than the other. Overall, it's a great drive, and it gets the thumbs up for me.